Today we are going to be talking about scheduler, and what I'm wanting to convey to you today is how this tool can help your business for you to plan, track and approve people's time and bring a bit of control, remove any chaos, and I think mostly give visibility around the company. And we're going to talk about your planning, job allocations, timesheets, everything in one place. Easy to see, easy to understand. We are going to touch on a connection to mobile, although this webinar is specifically around scheduler. Scheduler and mobile work so well together that I will mention it, but I won't be spending a lot of time on actual our mobility solutions. We're going to look at how you can approve timesheets, because scheduler also dovetails into the production of timesheets and therefore quick job costing updates from the time that's spent every day. And, you know, the aim with everything that we provide within our system is efficiency. Want to save time, save admin running around, having to find information, easy to see. Our agenda today is what is scheduler, and then we're going to look how it's used as a planning tool, a timesheet tool, a personal schedule, a plant schedule, and I will talk about leave planner. Now, I'm Karen Broderick. I'm a consultant here at Nimbus, and with me in the meeting today is Michelle Van Dyke, and she's from our sales and marketing team. I'm going to try and be concise and leave time so that there is an opportunity to answer any questions. If you do have a question, please feel free to type it into the chat section of this meeting, and time willing, we'll answer any questions that come in. Now, if we don't have time to answer specific questions, we will get in touch with you. So please ask questions. That lets me know you're listening and that I'm making sense and that I'm sparking interest, because that's what I'd like to do today, is really spark your interest. Okay, what is scheduler? Scheduler is a planning tool. It's a visual aid. And scheduler is something that is a standard component of the Nimbus database. Now, all of you will have some version of scheduler. If you have not used it, then it will be very basic and it'll be very out of the box. What I'm going to show you are some tailor-made schedules, and I've put these together in my demonstration database based on some of the work that I've done. And what I'm really wanting to show you is how the scheduler tool can be tailored to meet your company's specific needs. As with everything in Nimbus, it's highly configurable. And what we find with our customers, even customers that are in the same business sector, needs are very specific business to business. So I want to assure you, what you're seeing today are just ideas, but with a bit of a scoping exercise with you, we could tailor make something that will work the way that suits you best. So first of all, I want to talk about it as a planning tool. Now, when we talk about planning, we're talking about planning how you utilize your resources. Now, resources can be people. The people that you employ are resources. So in the first instance, we think about it as a planning tool for your team, for people in your organization. And I'm going to show you a workshop schedule where we have a lot of men working in an environment and a manager who needs to plan his staff. Now, this is a timeline schedule, and when we open it, it shows us 7 days from today, 7 days. Now, once again, this is just configuration. You could look at 2 weeks at a time. However, the time span would condense everything down if we tried to fit 2 weeks onto the screen. Now, this type of timeline scheduler, we can easily jump forward a week or jump back a week using these buttons here on the top left. So we have a block with a label, totally configurable. We have color, and you can actually tell us what colors, what will the rules be for color changes on your schedule. The other thing that we have is drop-down information. If we click on a job, we have a little box that comes up that gives us information on a job. Once again, totally configurable. Now, you'll notice we have a list of employees running down the left-hand side. For many of our companies, their teams are very large, and so we have the ability to filter into schedule groups, so you could have a smaller subset of people showing. In one case, I've created separate menu items that only show each scheduler group. So once again, we would work with you to tailor this to make it easy and visual for you to look at. So we've got our people running down the left. We're starting with today and we're running ahead for the next 7 days. You'll notice that some of the scheduled items span across several days and into next week. Some of the scheduled items only relate to work required to be done today. You'll notice that some of the schedule blocks take up the whole day, but if we slide our eyes down to Marie, we can see she's got 2 small jobs that each only cover a portion of today. So it's quite versatile in how you can schedule and how you can display. To schedule work, it really is just a matter of clicking in and using a form. Here we go. So this is a basic scheduling form. It pushes through the person's name. We use a lookup to find the job that we want to schedule them on. We can see that it's defaulting to 1 full day work. It's just a matter of filling in the information, putting on some instructions, clicking OK, and it saves onto the schedule. Now, these forms can be configured. You may have extra information that you want to apply when you're adding a scheduled item. Once we have scheduled items on the schedule, we can click and drag, make them larger, make them smaller, very simple to do. Now, one of the things that you will notice is the bottom bar coloured red, sometimes coloured orange. Now, this is because behind the schedule, we have a formula working that is calculating the number of days scheduled plus the number of days posted and comparing it to the number of days allowed for on the quote. And if scheduled days plus posted days exceeds quoted days, then you will have the bar turn red for every instance that that job is scheduled. And that's what just happened then when I added an extra day by dragging out Brian from 1 day to 2. And the reason for that is, and if we click on this little box here, there were only 2.2 days allowed for in quoting, but we now have 3 scheduled days. Now, on this particular scheduler, it turns orange when you've used 75% of your quoted day allowance, and then turns red. Now, from a planning point of view, this is really important information. This is something you need to know, because from a business point of view, if you are going to expend more hours than we're allowed for in quoting, then your margin on that job is going to be decreased. And typically with quoting, labour is the hardest one to really get right. So for a manager point of view, right at the point where you're planning how your team is going to be working, you're already getting an indication that you're running into a little bit of problem on a job. Now, the sooner you know this, the sooner you can take remedial action to mitigate that problem. So the scheduler tool, with the way color changes, the way things happen, this is what I mean about it being very visual, and the cues are very noticeable. You don't actually have to go away and search and find information. It's actually presenting it to you here in a very visual manner, but a click on the box will actually explain to you why that bar has turned red. Now, if we look at one of these other ones, which hasn't turned red, we can see we've allowed 55 days for quoting, and we're nowhere near hitting either an alert or to go red. So alert would be orange, red, we've got a problem. So this is highly configurable. These formulas, these calculations, these instructions behind the scenes saying go this color of this and that color of that. All of that is just consultant configuration. So it is important you understand what I'm showing you, you won't have, but it could easily be done for you just with a tweak or two or extra configuration on your system. So that's the timeline planner. And we also have the ability for an individual to see what jobs they are on today. Now, for the purposes of this demo system, my name is Adam, and there's two ways that I can see what work I have going for today. One is via a web report, and the other is via another scheduler that is a personal schedule. Now, for a workshop environment, you might have a lot of people accessing the same machine, and that's why we have a password entry onto this report. Basically, I can only see my jobs, and I have to enter my password, and then I can see my jobs for today. So I'm Adam. I've got 2 jobs I need to be working on today, and I can access a timesheet entry to confirm the work that I did just by clicking the job number. Now, this would also work out in the field. So mobile apps, this is where it kind of ties in. A mobile worker out in a van could have access, very simple access into Nimbus. They don't see menus or anything like that. They have a landing page. Their landing page could be their list of jobs for today. And off that list of jobs, they can pop a form where they can confirm the time that they spent on that job. And in this case, and once again, this is highly configurable, not only can the worker confirm the hours spent on the job, but he can post consumables, take photos, get the photos loaded up into your document storage system. So this is how scheduler and mobile work together. Now, when a person confirms the time that they spent on a job via a timesheet, and the timesheet's coming in from the field, or even if it's done in the office, it sits in a temporary table where it can be checked and then posted against jobs. And it's at that posting point where it becomes a confirmed cost transaction on a job. Once that information is posted to the job, it just acts like any other time entry, for example, if you'd use job posting. Now, where this becomes a huge benefit is time for admin. This takes away the need to process stacks of paper timesheets. And one of the values of this is that you can arguably have all your job costing up to date by 10 a.m. every morning, or what time you want it to be. Because what's happening is we're collecting the timesheet information as it happens through the day, and it's simply checked in the morning and posted. That's one way for Adam to see his work. Now, another view is the personal timesheet. Thankfully, that opened nice and quickly. And this timesheet is just for Adam. Now, this is opened showing a week, and we can see the 2 jobs that Adam needs to do today. For people in the office or mobile workers, you can have a view where you only see today. Now, for your mobile workers out on the van, this actually looks really nice on a device. And basically, Adam wouldn't see the whole week. He would just see today, what jobs he needs to do, and when the expected start and finish times is for each piece of work that he should be doing. So for Adam out in the field, he would click here and pop a timesheet form similar to the one I just showed you before. But this scheduler is also very good for your admin staff or staff who are office-based. This is a planning tool, so an office-based worker could plan how their week's going to go. And this also is a timesheet tool. And simply, you can come in here, you can confirm your time. You might change it. You may not have spent the exact hours you thought. So what you would do is just tidy this up. Make sure that your hours reflect what actually happened on the job. You might want to put a few notes in about the work you did. And once you've confirmed it, you can actually post your schedule here from this form. So this is no checking by other admin staff. This is one person responsible for their time and also posting against jobs. And that is just done by the click of a button. So it's very versatile depending on the amount of freedom you want to give your staff. And it's a very useful tool. Okay. I'm going to quickly talk about the plant scheduler. So when we talk about people as a resource, you have other resources around your company, and that can be your plant and equipment. So once again, we can use a scheduler tool like this to schedule where a piece of your plant and equipment is going to be and what job it's going to be used on. Once again, this helps you with your forward planning, making sure that the equipment that is required is available on the day you need it for a particular job. Very handy to know where a piece of equipment was last used, just in case it got left on a site somewhere. Once again, highly configurable. This one's very plain. I've just got, same color for everything, but you could have rules around this. It could change a different color when the job is finished and the piece of equipment needs to be returned back to base. You could have whatever would make this work for you. So what I'm wanting to show you is versatility, and I'm going to hurry up now because I'm noticing that we're running out of time, possibly won't have time for questions. And the only other thing I want to say right now is we can also have a schedule that just shows leave, where you have approved leave for people. You could have a leave planner, and that's very helpful for management to be able to look, see, the times of the year where you've got a lot of people away. You might need to plan your work around that. For an employee who wants to apply for time, it would be helpful to go and see if other people are on leave around that time, whether they're likely to be allowed to take time off. So a leave planner is another way of using this. So that's the end of my presentation. And I did see some questions pop up. I'm not sure, Michelle, if we have time, and I've got 5 minutes left.
Yes, Karen, I think we do have a couple of minutes for questions. So first question is, can you copy to other team members, or do you need to create a new schedule under each person?
No. So once you have a schedule item, you can copy and paste it to another person. And you, even for your personal planner, if you needed to be working on this thing every day, or you're going to be on leave all week, you can just copy, paste across the week. So it's very quick and easy. Yeah.
Cool. Right, next question. Does the schedule auto-populate from accepted quotes?
Well, scheduling is separate to quoting, but the information, as soon as you start scheduling on that job, that information will pop up in the box. Look, it might be possible. We've not done this before, and I always say to people, costs nothing to ask a question, but that would require a little bit of thought, because when you quote, you don't actually know who's going to do the work, whereas scheduling requires knowing exactly who. It could be possible to do it, but yeah, I think there's a very important piece of information that we'd have to know. When you're quoting, you would actually have to stipulate who, if you want it to auto-populate a scheduler. And you'd also need to be able to tell it when, because when you're quoting, you're not actually sort of saying on this date and that day. I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible, but that would be a bit of thought.
Okay, great. Next question. On the landing platform, can the employee enter a start and finish time?
Well, yes. I mean, when something's scheduled, it's planning, right? We think you're going to be there from 8 till whenever. But in actual fact, for some reason, you didn't get there till 8:30. When you do your timesheet, you're putting in actuals. So there's a very distinct difference between planning and then the actuals that are required for a timesheet. But when you actually do scheduling, it's just a planning record. It's not a timesheet record at that point. Could your person in the field create their own scheduling? Yes. And once again, that would be a permissions thing. If you want them to be able to actually map their day as they go and schedule things in, that would be doable. Yeah.
Right, there's another question. Can you change the view in the planner so that you can view via project first and see all resources allocated to one project together?
So I didn't show you, but we do have like a Gantt chart type schedule. I don't have it in my demo system, but that's more what you're talking about. And yes, you could actually, and you usually with that type of schedule, you run it by project or contract, and then you would see all of the scheduling that's going on and planning, and that would take it down to the actual person level as well. So that's totally doable.
Cool. I have another question from a client who couldn't attend, who asked, can content store be used with entries in Scheduler?
So I haven't done that, but my high level understanding is that is possible. Like example, if you were doing your personal scheduling, you were scheduling in sick leave, or you could load a medical certificate into content store. So that would work at a job level as well. So I think it's possible, but that would require some scoping and configuration to make that work.
Right. It seems like this is all the questions for now, and we're still pretty much on time. So I think that's a wrap, Karen. Thank you so much.
Well, I do apologise for the visuals. I'm sorry about that. Whatever happened, I'm going to say it must have been an internet thing, because I do apologise for that. Yeah.
Well, thank you to everyone also who attended today's webinar. I think Karen made it pretty clear how valuable our scheduler tool is and how it can be used in many, many different ways. Just as a reminder, as always, I do post the webinars on our YouTube channel and social media platforms, so you can either follow and subscribe. I will, of course, also be sending this as a link, just as a personal email too. So you are welcome to have a look at it again or share it with your team. And then I also thought I'll just put it out there. We're always looking to hear from our clients regarding, future webinar topics. So if there's something specific you'd like us to cover, please get in touch. It just makes it easier for us also to decide what our next topics would be around. So the invitation is there. All right. I think that's a wrap, Karen.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. See you next time.